I'm Ethan.
I'm Jamie.
We are Bloody Essentials.
Thanks everybody so much for giving us a listen. If you're liking what we're doing, please like and follow and share on all the socials. Feel free to drop us a line about movies that you're interested in us covering too, or anything else horror related that you want to see us talk about.
Now, unfortunately, our third co-host is not here. Nina had some business that she had to take care of, but we have a guest host, Cassandra Randolph. Say hi, Cassandra.
Hey, everybody.
Cassandra is my niece, and she is the first in our podcast of the everyday horror fan. Now, we're a podcast for all of your horror needs, so we have authors and artists, but we wanted to take and get a couple people who are just everyday horror fans. They're not fanatics like us. They don't eat it, live it, breathe it like we do.
True.
But they still like it, and we want to get everybody's input on everything. So, Cassandra, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you.
To talk about this movie that I spent a good probably 12 years avoiding. So,
okay, so tell us, Cassandra, what started your love of horror or your interest in horror?
Well, it was you. So what kind of sparked my interest was when I was younger, I would always go over to my Tia Stacy and Uncle Ethan's house just to like hang out, or like me and Tia Stacy would bake cookies or cupcakes or whatever. And like, as you guys know, Uncle Ethan's house decked out in horror. Like, I mean, just look at behind him. I mean, it was just like all these horror pictures, these posters, and like he would always talk about these movies. So like I got kind of interested. And I remember it was the Saw 3D movie. Of course it was 3D. But he was talking about wanting to go see it, and I was like, I kind of want to go see it. And he was like, oh yeah, like I'll for sure take you. And I was like, seriously? And so he's like, yeah, of course you got to get like your parents' permission, but like I'll take you. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. So, and that's so funny because you were working on my Lito and Lita's basement at the time. Their plumbing. Yep. We talked about this. And I was so excited, like so pumped. I got to go to like a real horror movie, like, and of all horror movies, Saw in 3D. But I was so excited. And then I still remember to this day, I brought a blanket with me. I don't even think I watched like 30 minutes of the movie. I was just hiding the entire time. But it was such a fun experience. And then from then on, like I would go over to their house for movie nights, and we would just watch all of like Friday the 13th or Freddy versus Jason. Like we would just watch all of those horror movies, and it kind of just like went on from there. So I have Uncle Ethan to thank for my first horror movie experience and for instilling the like of horror in me.
I love that so much. I was going to say, I have a feeling he had a part in this. Just disgusting.
1000%.
When did you so you waited a while to see Sinister. Tell me about the first time you saw it. Like, what did you think of it?
Okay, so the first time I saw it, I was in my basement at my house with one of my like childhood friends. Mm-hmm. And we also really liked watching horror movies together. And so we were like, oh, like, let's put this one on. And a little backstory, my basement, horrifying. Like just the worst place to watch a horror movie.
I love it.
And so we were like, oh yeah, like let's watch it. Like, let's put it on. So put it on and scared the living shit out of me. But we're watching it and it's like pretty scary. And then all of a sudden, and I'm sure we'll talk about this scene, but it gets to the scene where that mask face dude, whatever, is on the guy's laptop. And like Ethan Hawke, I can't remember his name, but Ethan Hawke looks away and the guy's face moves on the laptop screen. Me and her screamed so loud, turned off the movie, ran upstairs. I never went back. I never finished it, never bothered to even try to finish it. That was it for me.
That's an intense scene.
Legitimately avoided that movie ever since.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Like, that scene scarred me. And like, just like the home videos that they would watch, and like and I was talking to him about this when we were watching it. Like, the music that they chose for this movie, brilliant choice on their part, but like just horrifying. And like, that stuck with me. Like, it took so long to get like the memory of like those screams and that music out of my head, that like I could not go back to that movie until today.
That is so exciting, because you guys watched it today, like before we hopped on, right?
Today in broad daylight.
Yeah. Here.
That's the trick.
We asked her, 4 or 5 weeks ago to come onto the podcast.
Yeah.
So, of course, life happens. So things are happening and everything.
Yes.
So I'm like, you ready to watch it? She's like, no, not right now. You ready to watch it? No, not right now. Not right now. Finally, we're like 3 days away. And I'm like, you have to watch this movie. You cannot get out of it.
As long as I could.
So finally, she's like, listen, Uncle Ethan, we have to watch it Saturday. And I was like, okay. Why Saturday? That's when we record. She's like, because it has to be during the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
I couldn't do it at nighttime, and no, especially because you guys live in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's all this darkness and the windows around here. No, we had to do it in the broad daylight.
Yeah, so it had to be in broad daylight. She pushed it as much as she could, and she was like, no, it has to be in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
as we're watching it, I took some video, which I'm sure we can edit in here.
No. And then when it shows up on his fucking laptop, and when it moves, no. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god, I hate this movie so much. Okay.
She reverted from 26 back to 8. She was like in a fetal position watching it like this. She had the blanket all up here. It was great. I think I was more entertained by her than I was the movie.
He literally says that. He's like, I need to watch a horror movie with you like at least once a week, because like this is so entertaining. I'm like, I am so glad that my fear
brings you joy.
Some entertainment for you, like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Aw, that sounds so fun, you guys.
But like, I'm very happy that he was more than okay, A, watching it with me, and 2, watching it in the daytime. Because if I had to watch that by myself, I can guarantee you guys I wouldn't have.
I can guarantee you she would not have.
Nope.
Yes.
I would have just gotten on here and just talked about like what I remember.
Yeah.
Right. And I was fine with it during the day. I mean, I'll watch it in the morning, at night, middle afternoon. I don't care. Horror's horror, and I love it all.
Any time of day. So.
Awesome. Well, should we get into it, you guys?
Absolutely. Let's go through some plot points.
Okay. So we open up right on some ominous family home video footage of the hanging family. That kind of sets up the mood for sure. I have to say, like, that is so creepy, like the sounds that are happening during that time, and so creepy. But anyway, then we kind of open. There's Daddy Ethan Hawke, Ellison, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
And he's moving into this new house with his family. And we get a lot of information in this scene, you know, when the cops are waiting out there and the sheriff has a little conversation. So, you know, we learn that, like, he's a true crime writer, that he's gotten it wrong a few times, and the sheriff's not too interested in him being there.
I was so confused at first, and I even asked him, I was like, why don't they like him? Like, what's the story? And he literally goes, he's like, I'm watching this at the same time as you. He's like, I have no idea. I'm like, okay, fair point. But I kind of like how they threw that in there, but then I'm kind of thinking like, was that like necessary? I feel like that didn't really play that big of a part. You know what I mean? Like I just
Right.
thought it was kind of, like
Totally.
unnecessary to throw in there. Like having the one cop help him, I feel like that was kind of nice.
Oh
But
yeah.
just the fact that like, oh, they don't like, the true crime writer. Like I just thought that was just like so unnecessary.
Yeah, well, they said in his other books he made the cops look like they were in a bad light because they did a bad job and
Yeah.
didn't answer the other crimes that were committed. They kind of were like, yeah, whatever, and he uncovered stuff that they didn't. So
Oh yeah.
I could see the cop being a little pissy at him.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised that he follows this author so closely, though, where he's like, I read his book and he was wrong, and I know that he's moving to this community. And anyway,
Right.
is he? I think he's secretly a fan, maybe.
Yeah, he's secretly a fan.
Like, definitely is a fan.
Yeah, he knows all about him. But yeah, so we learned that he's not really wanted there. We learned he has the true crime stuff that he's doing and that he's gotten it maybe wrong in the past or whatever. I also really like when we're introduced to the daughter, like painting on the walls, because I just really love her kid logic. She's like, you chose to move here, not me. You can unpack. I'm not going to do that.
And can I just, a side note here? This was 2012.
Yeah.
I was born in the 70s.
Mhm.
Had my parents come to me and said, it's time to unload the car, and I had said that to them, I would have woke up in 1987 because they'd have knocked my ass out.
Literally same. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in the 70s, but even my parents, if I would have told my mother anything that child said to her
I
dad,
know.
Exactly.
would have never seen the light of day again.
Yeah. I'm almost 47
know.
now, and if I talk to my mother like that, my mother at almost 80 would punch me out. So,
1000% she would, with no remorse.
yeah.
Love it. Honestly, too, I would have gotten in so much trouble for painting, like drawing on the walls, too, especially in a brand new house like that we're
Right?
just moving into. I would have been in trouble for that.
And even he was like, oh, the rule is only in the bedroom, like nowhere else. But I'm like, even in the bedroom, I'm like, no, don't let your kid. That's why we have paper people.
Right.
I know.
Exactly.
Come on. Okay. So we continue to learn a little bit more about the family and about Ellison, Ethan Hawke, and he's there to write about this missing dead girl and missing or / dead or whatever. The sheriff says she's dead. He's like, well, she's missing. They don't know. So yeah, that's why he's there. And then they're kind of like checking out the house some more, and he goes up into the attic.
Yeah.
Mistake number one.
Yeah.
I know, right? Pretty bad omen that there's like a scorpion right away, I feel like.
Which
Yeah.
I like which I don't mean to like jump, but I like how they tied the scorpion in. I thought that was cool. I didn't pick up on that until the very end, but the scorpion and then the other thing that's in the attic, I thought that was a really cool tie-in at the end.
I did too.
And I'm just saying this. There was a scorpion. He dropped the thing and he killed it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you turn on some lights to see, I don't know, see if there's any more scorpions up there?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just thinking.
Always turn on the light.
Yeah.
Another thing, like this entire movie, we were talking about this when we watched it. Why are there no lights on almost at any time? There was like, he used his like phone flashlight. I'm like, every single light would be on in that house. The closet light, the oven light. I mean,
yes.
Any light would be on. You cannot tell me otherwise.
Right.
Seriously. He's like hearing all this creaking and stuff going on in his house. And it's like, you can't turn on the light? Sir, come on.
Thank you. Exactly.
Come on, man. But along with the scorpion, he finds a box full of Super 8 like home video reels. Now, question, What would you guys do if you found said box of home videos in your new attic?
Well, Cassandra's young, so she'd probably pick them up and go, "What the hell
What
are
is
these?"
this?
Oh,
What
very
is this
funny,
thing?
very funny. I mean, like, I would be intrigued. Don't get me
Same.
wrong, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I'd be that intrigued to watch them. I wouldn't.
Oh no! See, I'm nosy as shit. I would be like, "Let's go! I want to see what's on here."
Because then I
Absolutely.
would get freaked out and be like, the fact that I just found these in the attic is creeping me out as it is.
Yeah.
I would 1000% be getting a weird vibe from the house anyways. Like, don't eat them.
Yeah.
Don't eat them.
Ugh.
I would have watched them, and immediately when I was done watching them, I would have called Jamie and Nina and said, "Get over to the house. We got something to watch." So,
I found something.
I found something. You gotta watch this.
I definitely am like I would be intrigued. I think I would start watching them, but like, oh man, it's like I stayed in an Airbnb once, right? We opened a side room and there was like all these weird family photos inside. And I was curious at first, right? Where I was like, oh, what's this weird little room? And then we were like, I feel weird about this room. I am backing out of there. We're just gonna close the
never mind.
door and never go back in that room again.
Oh, that's weird.
It was weird. It was really weird. But yeah, I'd probably watch a couple of the movies and maybe call the police afterwards or something.
My question, like really quick, with the movies. Okay, so I thought about this earlier. Does the demon guy or whatever, does he start getting to the family or the kids once like they start watching the movies or once somebody finds the box? Or is it if you just move into the house?
It's a good question. I was kind of wondering that too. Because we know that there's the pattern with the moving, right? And the
Right.
houses. But yeah, it's like, does it just start when they find the videos or just
Right,
what
because
triggers
then he
it?
goes up to his attic and he finds the box again.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's why I was like, does it just start? Like, would none of this have happened if he just didn't open the box or watch any of the movies?
That's what I got out of it.
That's
He
kind of
moved there, and once he watched the movies, he kind of like unleashed the beast.
Okay, that makes sense.
The demon was unleashed after he started watching it.
That makes sense.
That's true, because like we learn later on, spoiler alert, we'll talk about it later, but we do learn later on from the professor guy that like they believed that Bagdul or whatever his
Mhm.
name is,
Yeah.
Bagul or whatever, that he like people thought he like lived in the pictures, like and
Right.
could come
Right.
out of the
Right.
pictures. So I guess you have to watch the movie first, I guess.
So yeah, that's kind of just like what I was wondering. Like, if they don't see it or anything, then like he
Huh.
doesn't have like the power to jump out or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I think you have to watch it, but I was kind of wondering that too, because like they explain
Right?
the whole moving thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else have we got here. And if I miss anything, guys, just let me know. Okay.
Mhm.
We moved to this fun like office setup, and I have to say, like, I love like his crime scene photos board and everything.
yeah.
I love his whole office. Very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool setup. How like, and even the cop made a comment about it, like, "Oh, you have the pictures and like
Yeah.
the yarn strings and
Yeah.
everything."
Yeah, I
you
was
could
like, "Are you a writer or a cop?"
Yeah.
right,
But
like you could tell he was very dedicated to his work and everything.
right.
Oh yeah. And we kind of learn, let's see, where did I go here? Okay. He gets these, I have to say, I really love the scene where he's like preparing the projector and he's getting like the little reels ready and stuff like that. I think that's like, there's something so like cool about that, just seeing people like set up a projector like old school. And I really love that. But he basically sits down and decides to start watching these home movies. And the first one that we get is the family hanging in the tree.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
Yeah, it was just like weird seeing, like, oh, a happy family, they're all together, like having fun, and then cut to them dying. Like, no.
And I don't know why, but I loved that they had bags over their head.
I did too. It was extra creepy.
Yes, I was going to say it gave it like an even creepier factor. It would have been creepy had we seen 4 people just hanging there, but due to the fact that they had the bags over their head, I was just like, "That's hella creepy." I like that.
It's weird that I'm pretty sure like that's the only one that they had bags over their
Yeah.
heads, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Which I wonder why, because like every other video, like you saw their eyes, you saw their face, and
Right.
except for that one. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think about that either.
I
But
just think it gave it an extra creepy effect to it.
yeah.
So
It was super creepy, and I have to say, like, it like gives you like when you see it, it feels like something you're not supposed to be watching. Like
Right.
they did a really good job of like nailing that feeling because like you watch it and it feels like I'm not supposed to be seeing this. Like that's kind of how it feels.
I agree. Yes.
It's so creepy and cool. And you know, he's like kind of like watching and like making notes as he's watching, like who made the film, you know, where's Stephanie, the girl who's missing, like where is she in all of this, you know? Okay. And then we got he's still watching the movies, you know, and then I think the next one that he watches is the it's like the family fishing and then the car,
Car
right?
scene.
yeah.
The car scene. Yep.
That one's pretty creepy too.
I hated that one because, and again, props to the like producers, the writers, or whatever. But just like the sound, like the background sound or the music or whatever that went along with that, like that stuck in my head for these 12 years. And like even before it happened, I told Uncle Ethan, I was like, this is the car scene. Like I know the car scene is coming up.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that was the next scene. And it's just because like it was just one of those things that just stuck in my head, which I mean, honestly is, you know, a sign of a great horror movie, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
But it sticks with you.
Seriously, for 12 years, like,
oh my God.
Oh my God. It was just definitely instilled like that creepy feeling and that like uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
Totally, because it's like, you know that like things are gonna go really badly in this video, obviously, but you're not sure exactly what's gonna happen yet. And like it's kind of like a slow reveal to them in the car, and then the match just like gets thrown and the thing gets set on fire, and you're like, oh God, they just did that. Wow.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. He actually has this moment of like wondering, should I call the cops? Should I tell somebody? After he sees this, he's like, you know, on the phone with them and ends up deciding, I'm not gonna do that. House gets all creaky, something's up, you know. I do have to say, this movie does it better than some other ones, but there are some scenes where it's very, very dark for a while.
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard to see for some of these parts.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Which is why I kind of felt bad that we watched it during the day because like there's like a glare on the TV and like at certain points I'm like squinting. I'm like,
same.
What are you doing? But yeah, it got like very dark and I'm like, again, why isn't anybody turning any lights on?
I know.
And does nobody have a flashlight? I mean, seriously.
I literally had a glare because I was watching it in the afternoon. I literally had a glare in the middle of my TV, and I'm like, all I can see is like this one square of light in the dark.
Right.
Okay. So, you know, he's like wandering around, it's dark, and then, you know, he finds his son inside of this box, and he like bends back and he's like screaming. So it turns out that Trevor has a bad case of the night terrors.
Right.
Which is no good.
That was hella creepy when he popped out of that box.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I jumped like a bitch.
That's creepy.
That was the only time he jumped, but he definitely did.
I did a lot more laughing than I did jumping.
Also, speaking of you jumping, at least I didn't jump at the sound of the water jug making a bubble.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're sitting there. It's one of those intense moments, right? Yeah. And the Hinkley and Schmidt bottle goes, blah, 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 and I jumped like 3 feet in the air. Yeah.
He jumped.
Oh God. I love that. I wish we had video footage of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do wish that like they did a little bit more with the son because I feel like he had potential to do some weird stuff with those night terrors. Yeah. But like they just did the night terrors and then, you know, he was kind of being a little dick and then that was kind of it. You know, then they focused on the sister.
I agree, because what we got of him was good, and you're right.
No.
Like I kept on being like, is the night terror thing going to amp up to something like really crazy?
Right, because then they found him outside, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so like they're gonna keep doing something with this, and
Yeah.
then they didn't.
Yeah.
They're
Kind
like,
of
he's
a
got
messed
night
up.
terrors. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was like, okay, thanks. Like,
and they're like moving on. No,
Right?
I
Like,
kept on
all right,
wondering
well-
if it was going to amp up into something, but it doesn't really. But stressful for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He watches another movie. This is the pool party movie with the family tied to the pool chairs, and they get pulled into the pool and they drown, and that one's scary for me because I'm scared of like deep bodies of water. But then we get like the scary face the first time we see
Yes.
Mr. Boogie, and it's creepy.
Very weird. It's like kind of like I think at first he thought it was like a reflection of the water,
Yeah.
and then like, he pauses it, and then you see it, and it's like
What is
that's a
that?
creepy moment
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can't unsee like Mr. Boogie or whatever they call him once you've seen him.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Trust me.
And the projector actually like catches on fire, and he's like trying to like figure that all out, and he's trying to like figure out how to like put it on the computer and all this stuff and get like that image of what he saw, like try to zoom in and get that, because it's like, what is that? Okay. I'm trying to read my writing, bear with me. Okay. We get this, the mom comes in, this is like the next day or whatever, and we learn that the son has been drawing pictures of the hanging family at school. They get into a little bit of a argument. She's not really feeling the situation. I don't 100% blame her.
right.
But she's not really feeling that the situation very much. But Ethan Hawke decides to watch another video, and this is the one with the flashlight moving around. You get the dog barking, and then you get everybody tied up and the throat slashed. I have to say, I thought it was really cool that you saw it in his glasses.
What did I say, Cassandra?
Well,
I said
he
that was
made
probably my
so many
favorite kill
comments
there.
That was like I think
Yeah.
his favorite thing. Like he
Yeah.
was in love with that
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, when you seen him get his throat slit and it was the reflection in his glasses, I was like, that is freaking awesome.
It was
Yeah.
so cool because then you also kind of see that like you're really close in on his face, so you kind of see
Yeah.
like the horror on his face, like the sick feeling he's having as he's watching it. But he also can't like stop himself from watching it like at the same time. But yeah, I thought that was so dope how they did that.
Absolutely. That was great.
As he's watching this video, he's kind of figuring some more stuff out too, because he finds like the symbol on the wall. And so we have that. God, then I said that one dark scene is too much. It was just really dark for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. He finds a snake. That's another bad omen, I feel like.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
And again, I'm going to say, why don't you turn the damn lights on? Because if there's a snake, there may be multiple snakes.
Yeah, like, okay, dude, you've seen a scorpion, you've seen a snake. I think you should call an exterminator. That's just
Thank
me.
you.
Like,
And not only may there be other snakes, the snake slithers away and he just goes about his business.
I know.
I'm like, dude, there's a snake in your house. Should you not do something? I digress.
Needs some help. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
He also finds the drawings on the box or whatever that are all the sketches of all the deaths that he's seen in these videos. And if I could have a prop from the movie, I think I'd want that, like the thing with all the drawings of because it was cool. It was really creepy. And he's up there and he's fumbling around in the dark. And admittedly, it's hard to see what exactly is going on. But he ends up falling through the floor.
yeah.
And next thing we see is the cop guy comes. They're chit-chatting, has this whole fun conversation about like, well, there was a scorpion and a snake, and he's like, yeah, but you wouldn't hear those. It was squirrels,
It was like those snakes.
Yeah, I liked it when he was like, snakes don't have feet.
Yeah. I love the cop, by the way. I thought he was really cute and fun. I liked his character.
He was.
And he's been in so many other horror movies. You know
Yeah,
that?
I know.
He's
I know.
been
I
in
recognize
It.
him.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So
No, I liked him.
I'm a
I
fan.
liked his character. I thought he
Yeah.
had like a good role in this.
Yeah, because he was kind of like fun. He was a little bit of comic relief, but he was also like such an integral part
Right.
with like finding out info for him and all of that.
Right.
So, and I love that he's a fan, you know, and he kind of is like, hey, I know that you do like an acknowledgement page, and
Yeah,
maybe
he was trying so hard
I
to get
know.
in there.
He's like, maybe you could do like one for me, and like, but I can help you. Like, whatever it is that you need, I can help you out and find out information. And he's like, yeah, I do actually need some details about these murders, and it's as easy as that to get a cop to like find info for you, apparently.
There you
So,
Easy peasy.
yeah, no problem at all. Okay,
It's always good to have a cop in your back pocket.
exactly.
Fuck
So yeah,
you.
he's doing his doing some more researching, looking at these crime like drawings, you know, and you see Mr. Boogie in every single one of the drawings. Like, what is that? And then he's watching the videos and he finds Mr. Boogie in the other ones. I thought it was so cool when he found him in the background of like the hanging family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he also
Which
Yeah.
I thought was kind of cool because like he didn't catch that at first, and obviously none of us did.
Yeah.
And then like he goes back and then he finds that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I did
Yeah.
too, because I totally didn't see it the first time at all.
Right.
Didn't think
No.
about it. Wasn't searching the background trying to find something.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And he finds them in the barbecue video and all of that too. Okay. Our cop comes back and he has some addresses of these where these murders occurred. And then we learned that, oh, okay, like the family, the hanging family, they lived at the place of the other family before.
Right.
So there's some kind of connection here, guys. That's when we have that really great moment, too, that you were talking about where Mr. Boogie moves on his computer screen behind him.
Yeah.
Oh, if I could describe into words what that scene did to me when I first watched it, and then again having those feelings come back
Yeah.
years later,
Wow.
like, and again, I will say this again, props to the movie people, because like that is what you do to make a good horror movie. But I don't know, because it's like, it's not the first time that, you know, I've seen a horror movie like this, or, you know, somebody in like a creepy mask like is in a movie, but just the way that like it's on the screen, the way that we can see the screen, but he's not looking at it, and then it just moves and like kind of looks at him and then like goes back before he can see it. Oh my God. I was literally transported back to when I first watched it, and I was like, oh my God, it was so creepy still.
A good horror movie, yeah. A good horror movie can stick with you like that. And like,
Yep.
I really like how it just, he turns his head just in time before Ethan Hawke sees him. So you get a real sense of like, ooh, this is like a really malevolent, like kind of spirit. Like, this guy is not good. This guy's not good.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, and then he watches like the video of his fall, and he sees he has all these little hands all over him.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
Also creepy. And then this is like he wakes up and he's sleeping, and the projector is going, you know, in the projector room, and he's like a little freaked out and everything. I think he sees Mr. Boogie at one point. And then this is when he goes outside to find Trevor, right? Trevor is like having his night terrors. That was scary how they set that up too.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was out there. You kind of had the sense that it was maybe Mr. Boogie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the kid.
Exactly.
Right.
And then like a random dog.
I know. Which was scary.
Okay.
And then that's one of the images that comes up at the end too, like the scorpion and the snake. The dog is in on that too.
Right. I did like how the dog, when he was growling and stuff, Ethan Hawke thought that it was for him. The dog was like, no, the people behind you. You know,
Right.
he was like, I don't care about you. The dog was like, I'm more concerned with them. And as soon as they left, the dog was like, peace.
Yeah, see ya.
I don't care about you.
And Ethan Hawke never sees the group of, people over there.
Right.
Right.
I kind of skipped forward to, the cop comes back to talk to him, and he's like, I really think I should be filled in basically on the situation here that you're dealing with. And he shows him Boogie. He starts to like talk to him about this, and the cop's like, I think it's ritualistic.
Right.
Which, I mean, makes sense.
Totally.
Oh,
Yeah. And then he says, you're also like, drinking, you're also walking around this dark house.
So, I mean,
And he's like, hey. And he's like, there's also that. And you're in a stressful situation.
Again,
I mean,
fair. You're downing a bottle of Jack and Night. So, I mean,
right. And you're living in a house where a bunch of people were killed.
Yeah.
Your mind's probably going to play some tricks on you.
So
I would imagine. So there's all of that. Okay. And so he basically hooks him up with a professor to call who specializes in, ritualistic stuff. And then in between, when he actually talks to the professor on Zoom, is when I think he watches the lawnmower video.
Yes.
And that is when that, like, I don't know what it is about that one. That one really creeps me out.
Right.
yeah.
And like when I see the reel that says like I was like, no, it's the lawnmower one. I don't want to see this one. And it's something about the lawnmower one. Like that one is the creepiest one to me. I don't know what it is 100%, but that one creeps me out the most.
No, I get that. That was like because like you just see the lawnmower just going and it's just going and going. And then boom, all of a sudden there's a person there and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like instead, with the other videos, like you kind of see the setup for it. You see kind of like what's going on. This lawnmower one, it's just going and then just out of nowhere.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's the one that creeps me out the most of all of the videos. That's the one. Okay, so when the professor and him talk, we learn a lot of information. The professor's explaining about this pagan deity. His name is like Bogdul or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that, which means the eater of children.
Yeah.
Okay. And he basically lures kids in to his world and he eats them or possesses them or whatever. I have to say, I love the mythos, like the kind of story of our, like, whatever he is.
Right.
It's really scary.
Talking about like the background of this guy. So like with the mythos and everything, like, is this a real thing?
That's a good question. I should have looked that up. I don't know.
Like, is this like I don't want to say like entity, but is this like actually something that like people would see or talk about or like make stories about?
I checked. I don't know if that actual deity in paganism is real, like the Eater of Souls. I don't think it is, but the name is not a pagan deity that I found anyway. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious too. I should have looked that up where I was like, is this like a real thing that's been, that people have drawn pictures of, that there's stories about, but wow. So like props to the writing team again for like creating a whole like story and character and mythology. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. The projector is going again as he's walking like through his house. It's all dark again because he never turns on the lights. And then we start seeing like the little ghost children.
Yes.
In the house, which was creepy and cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite ghost kid? Or spirit kid or whatever they're called? I don't really know. They're not really
the girl in the raincoat.
Me too.
Yeah, she reminded me of Georgie from It. So
I know.
You said that.
Yeah. So I liked her.
So. She was my favorite too.
Yeah, I thought she was like kind of cute. I was like, oh.
No.
She was a cute little demon. So
she was. Yeah, I know. Okay, and then we also get a shot that was kind of like maybe some pre-shadowing, where we get the daughter and she drew the hanging family on her wall,
Right.
and then the little ghost girl is kind of like with her and does like the shush thing to her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit of like foreshadowing for what's going to happen. Okay. And there's another conversation with the cop because Ethan Hawke asks him, was the family before weird? Did they have spooky stuff that happened? He's like, not really.
He's like, only
They were normal.
Yeah. No, not really. He's like talking to the cop, and the cop kind of is like, wait, does your wife not know like what this house is? I would not want to be there for that conversation. And then we
Right.
pretty much go into that conversation, and
Which is so opposite to me because, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall for that. I am so nosy when it comes to things like that. I'm like, no, let me pretend like I'm cleaning something. I want to hear
yeah.
that's about to go down.
She was all vacuuming the lawn. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm walking my pet fish right now. Like,
right.
Seriously. But yeah, she's not happy about it. I mean, it's probably something you should have told her.
It's understandable. And like when they were arguing and everything, and he's like, this book is my legacy, and like this is my life, and blah blah blah. And she was like, pause, because your kids are your legacy, and this marriage is your life. And Uncle Ethan was like, that's right.
That's right. I said that before she said it. I was like, I could have wrote that part.
Yeah.
So your kids are your legacy.
Yeah.
So
I love the part too where she's like, so they like, that happened where we are. And he's like, well, I mean, it didn't happen in here. It happened in the backyard.
Backyard.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah. No, it's outside. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I also said to Cassandra when we were watching it. Now they go through this whole fight and this whole thing that we were just discussing. And she's like, oh my God, how could you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And the next scene, she's tucking her into bed.
She's like, okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. All of this shit just happened. You found out that all these people were killed here. You're up one side of him and down the other. And then you're like, okay, go to bed.
I know.
I'd have been like, round those kids up. We're getting them in the car. Are you coming with us or not?
I know. Yeah, I feel you on that one. Okay, so but like he wakes up. At one point he's sleeping. They go to bed or whatever, and he wakes up and the projector's gone. And I love this climb that he does up to the attic or whatever. It's all like flickering, like the scene is kind of flickering, like the projector. And he climbs up into there and he sees the dead kids all sitting around.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was so cool looking. And he sees Mr. Boogie too at some point, and then he's finally like, fuck this. We're done.
Right?
Finally.
And he was all crazy about it too. He was like, get the kids. We've got to go. Let's go. Hurry up. Hurry up. I'm like, calm it down. Get your kids and get the hell out of the house. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
But yeah, he like burns everything, burns the movies, burns the projector. Yeah, everybody get your stuff. We're getting out of here.
In my head, I was like, dude, first of all, I feel like you're burning these a little too late. And second, like, I didn't think that burning them was going to do anything anyways, because the one film that he was watching burst into flames and like,
And
that didn't,
happen.
do anything. So I'm like, he's burning everything. And I'm like, that's not going to save you, buddy. Not this time.
No, it's like if we've learned anything from horror movies, whatever this thing is, it's following his family.
Exactly. Like it's going to follow you. Like you don't leave it.
Yeah, that's not going to help you, man. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
And he even, they get pulled over for speeding by the sheriff. They have their little talk. He's like, I'm getting out of here. And it's like, no book. And it's like, nope, not doing the book. And it's like, okay, see you later.
No ticket. There you go.
Yeah, no ticket. Yeah, we're good here. So anyway, they get back to their original home. They're unpacking and everything. We as an audience know that this is not going to be a happy ending. It's just not,
Which also gorgeous home, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was seeing that too. It's like he hasn't written a book.
Right. And I was like, not a huge fan of the windows. They're a little too big for me. That would scare me. But
Yeah.
gorgeous house.
Yeah,
I know.
definitely.
Like, what did the wife do? Because, like, he hasn't written a book in like 10 years. You know, they were living kind of like modestly at the other place because they hadn't sold this place yet. So I'm like,
Right.
that's a nice house. Like, he must have did really good with his Kentucky Blood book or whatever, if that's what they're living in, because that's a nice house.
Because, like, I kind of want to say, like, I mean, she never talked about like going to work. She would always talk about like running errands and stuff like that. And it's like, did you guys really make that much money off of that one book 10 years ago?
That's
like,
what I'm thinking too. I'm like, how?
Crazy.
Right?
Maybe they had like an inheritance or something.
Right.
Okay. You know, Ethan talks at his computer, whatever, and the professor sends him these images, old looking images. And then we get to see all these things come together. There's the scorpion, there's the dog, there's the snake. And we learn that, you know, Bagul or whatever his name is, like, people believe that he lived in the images and he would even possess people to do bad things, right?
Yeah.
And then, damn it, the box is back.
Goddamn box.
The box is back. Everything's fine. Everything is in pristine condition. All the reels are looking great, and that can't be good. And he finds a little envelope in there that has extended cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to stop and say too here. So the music in this movie is super creepy and cool. There's actually some artists on it that I know and like. So around the scene, there's these bands, and they're kind of like experimental, like dark, like noise kind of bands. But there is a song by this two groups I really like, Sun O and Boris, and I love them. I looked it up afterwards, and I'm like, oh, I know them. So they were like the song towards this moment, towards the end scene, and they just do like noisy kind of experimental music, but I'm like, I love them. I have one of their records. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that before.
Cool.
The cop calls him, tells him about all the moving around and how that basically that pattern is kind of like put him in the crosshairs of danger.
Yeah, he basically said, he's like, you either sped up your timeline or just put yourself right in it. Like, adios.
Yeah.
He got the your next bitch call.
Basically,
yeah. And I love that because, like, what a horrible like moment for him, right? Because he's like, did I do the right thing? Oh, what did I just kind of make happen here? Right. So we're watching the extended cuts, and we see it all come together that the missing children did the murders, the horrible, horrible murders of their families.
Yeah.
And like the entire time I was telling him, I was like towards the end, I was like, the daughter. Like as soon as like she made contact with the little girl that like painted on her wall or whatever, I was like, the daughter's going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know. And then as soon as we saw all of that, I was like, the daughter.
Called it, it's the daughter.
The daughter.
Yep. And he has this like, he gets like this dizzy, sick with fear, like realization. He sees the note from his daughter. This is like, good night, daddy, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he realizes he's been poisoned. You know, he's like foaming at the mouth. And he wakes up and he's all tied up, and so is his family.
Yeah.
And I love when his daughter says, don't worry, daddy, I'll make you famous again.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I thought that was very like wholesome in a weird way. Like, oh, like I'll make you famous again, and then like whack.
Right.
But I thought like coming from like your daughter, like that's kind of wholesome.
I know. Where it's
until I cut your head off. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like this moment of like part of her is still there, but she's got Bagul or whatever running the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still daddy's little girl, but I'm also Satan's little girl. So.
Yes.
Right. I gotta balance it.
So yeah, she's an axe. I love the whole scene, like the way that he kind of has to watch it all from the ground. He knows what's happening, and that's horrifying. Right. And then we just see there's like blood all over the hallways. You know, we see the symbol. She does the little thing that all the dead kids did. The dead kids are all there. And then we get and she draws the little family scene, which I loved that
On the
too.
bottom of the box, yes.
Yes, I thought that was cool.
That was so awesome. And then Mr. Boogie comes along and scoops her up and takes her away.
Yeah.
And then I liked at the very end, like when they're like panning out from the box, like you see their tape and it's called house painting.
Yeah.
I know.
Which makes sense because like she painted on all the houses or on the walls.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a good like tie-in.
I know. Oh, loved it. And yeah, that's Sinister, a creepy movie that's really, really awesome. I love horror movies with writers as like the main character, first of all, because I'm a writer and I just think like it could be like a good character. Ethan Hawke's amazing. And I thought the kids did a good job too. I thought the daughter did a great job.
Oh yeah, she definitely did.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and rate this. Jamie, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. I really love this one. I saw it pretty close to when it came out. I don't get creeped out by movies too often, but this one definitely has some creepy moments. For me, the creepiest parts are the home videos. Again, it just feels like something you're not supposed to be watching, and I love when a movie makes me feel that way. All that being said, I think I give this one an 8. Super solid for me. I'll rewatch it tons of times. It might not be like the first movie I pick because it is creepy and it does get a little dark visually sometimes. And I'm like, I can't see what's happening. But it's like a solid 8. Love this movie so much.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and we'll leave you for last, Cass.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah. I also love this movie. I think Ethan Hawke did a great job. It is super creepy. The kids did great. I love the lore of everything. I agree with you. It was a little dark at times, physically dark.
Yes.
I mean, it was also, like spiritually dark, but I mean, it was physically dark. Other than that, I thought the movie was really good. Does have a whole bunch of creepy factors. Love the kills. I'm going to have to give it an 8.5. So, Cass?
Okay. All right. Well, despite me sending you guys my therapy bill later for this movie, I'm not gonna lie, like, as much as I will probably not rewatch it and definitely would not be my first choice of movie to rewatch, I'm probably going to give it a 7.5. Mostly because it truly freaked me out and like stuck with me, and the fact that I was able to feel all of those emotions that I felt the first time that I watched it, which was ages ago, the fact that like I could still feel that again today makes for a great horror movie. So with that, I will give it a 7.5.
Yay!
Excellent.
We got high ratings on this one.
Yes, we did. I think everybody will agree with that, though.
Oh yeah.
I think
and
so.
if you don't agree with it, let us know why.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Leave your comments below.
Yes.
That was our line, but yes, leave it below.
Yep. One thing about the movie, which I found kind of interesting. So I don't know if like I missed one of these parts, but from what I remember, so like I kind of like the fact that like you didn't see Bagul or whatever the guy's name is unless it was like in a picture or like in a frame of like a home movie. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he was like walking down the hallway and like he saw him at the end of the hall. Like I thought that was cool. Like you didn't see him out of a video or out of a frame until the very end when he scoops up the girl and then goes back into the frame. I thought that was kind of cool that like you just saw him and you only got like the creepiness from those home movies.
Totally. It makes the home movies that much scarier.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love the villain. Like, he's really scary. And, like, how terrifying is it to, like, you know, possess, like, kids to kill their families? Like, that's pretty
Right.
terrifying.
Yeah, that's
Right?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I thought
awesome.
it was pretty delicious. Like, you know, how everything kind of came together where you're like, oh, it was the kids the whole time.
Yeah,
No.
like everything ties together. You're like,
Yeah.
it all makes sense
Yeah.
now.
It was very, like, rewarding in a horrible way, but you're like, oh, wow.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. Okay.
All right, are we ready for some fun facts?
Yay.
Sinister had a budget of $3 million,
Okay.
and it grossed $87 million worldwide when it opened. It blends traditional storytelling with found footage elements. It was a mix of real life crime stories and the fear of the unknown. So it took urban legends and folklore and put it all together, and that's how they got the movie. It now has a cult following and is a Halloween staple for many, many people.
Ugh.
The screenwriter, C. Robert Cargill, got the idea from a nightmare that he had for the people who were hanging after he watched The Ring.
Uh-huh.
He watched The Ring and he went to sleep that night and he dreamt of the people hanging in the tree. So that's where we got the opening sequence from.
Cool.
Yes. The family that was hanged outside for that scene, the stuntman who coordinated that screwed it up and botched it, and one of the people actually got hung. Now, they didn't die, but they actually got hung. So he got fired from the job and they had to hire somebody else. Yeah.
You're dangerous, man.
Right? I'm like, Lord.
Wow.
Yeah. But, yeah. How do you fuck that up? I mean, seriously, that's your only job.
Ooh.
Okay, all of the home movies that were shown and all of the stuff that was in there, the music, Ethan Hawke did not see any of that until he actually watched it on the show because they wanted to catch his actual reaction to it.
Ah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
when like people do that. Like even in TV shows and everything, when they like ad lib or they like throw something in like just by themselves, like I love seeing genuine reactions. I think it just makes it feel so much real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And how they decided they wanted to do the 8mm movies, they said they wanted it to be gritty and realistic looking. So they took, like, remember Faces of Death?
Oh, yeah.
They wanted it to feel like that. So they took Faces of Death and the assassination of JFK.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And they kind of mixed the two, and that's where they came up with the gritty 8mm type stuff for that. So
they nailed it.
That was kind of cool. I really enjoyed it. I think they did a great job there.
Oh, they really nailed it.
The last fun fact that I have about this movie is in 2020, Forbes called Sinister the scariest movie ever made based on a study of all the horror films they had people set up and they were monitoring them.
I read about this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And people's heartbeat at one point in the movie were up to like 113 beats per minute. So
Checks out.
They took that and they said, okay, we've seen all these movies. This is the scariest one according to the scientific research. So
wow. Yeah, I read about that. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Love it.
So those are the fun facts that I have.
Super
Sandra,
fun.
do you have anything else to say about the movie or anything else?
No, just the fact that, like, first of all, thank you for making me get over this hump of avoiding this movie for so long that I had to watch it. I will say I definitely think it was like a lot scarier years ago when I first watched it, when I was so young.
Sure.
Than when it was today, and also that it was in daylight. That probably helped.
Yeah.
But I am happy that I was like finally able to like get through this, you know, like
Totally.
it feels good to like conquer that.
Yes. I'm glad we could be a part in this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then I actually have a question for you guys. This
Sure.
is
Ooh.
non-horror related, but just because I'm nosy and I'm curious.
Okay.
I definitely think I know Uncle Ethan's answer, but what would be your favorite non-horror movie, Jamie?
Oh, okay. I have a couple that I really love, but it's probably going to be this is Spinal Tap, which is like a rock mockumentary. It's
Right.
really, 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 really funny. Also, really like Best in Show. It's by the same guy, but cracks me up like crazy. So probably this is Spinal Tap. I also really love trying to think of like some of my other non-horror ones. I'm just gonna go with that.
Okay.
But I like comedies. When I'm
Got
not
it.
watching horror movies, I like comedies the best.
Got it. Okay. Uncle Ethan, go ahead.
I think you probably already know what mine is.
I do.
You may even know what it is, but I love 1980s John Hughes films.
Aww.
And I think the best one out there is The Breakfast Club.
I love Breakfast
Yeah.
Club.
Favorite non-horror
Aw.
movie. I could put that on repeat and just watch it all the time. So
Love that. What about you? What's your favorite?
So, you guys are probably going to laugh at me for this. I love the movie Bring It On. I could probably quote that movie like it's my job. Shout out to my dad. He knows what I'm talking about. Sparky Pilastri, Spirit Fingers.
Yeah, Spirit Fingers.
Love that movie. And it's so funny because, like, growing up, I was always in gymnastics. So, like, I couldn't stand cheerleaders. And the fact that, like, this was a cheerleading movie and I loved it so much. Like, I don't know. I think my dad is the one that, like, showed me that movie. And I fell in love with it ever since. That's a movie I could watch on repeat, never get sick of.
I love Bring It On. When that movie came out, I loved it. I still love it today. That
Yep.
movie totally rules. Like the cheer number at the end is like awesome.
Amazing.
Right? Amazing. Like I love some of the actresses in it like so much. I love Bring It On. I might have to watch that. Like
I'm so happy that you
like right now.
I love that.
I'm probably going to get yelled at. I've never seen it.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Well, I know what we're watching next.
There we go. That's going to change really soon, okay? I love that. That's one of my fave movies too. So I'm going to have to rewatch that like today.
Such a classic.
I know.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, I guess I know what we're watching. So, Cassandra, on behalf of all of Bloody Essentials, we thank you so much for coming on and sharing your time with
Thanks
us.
for having me. This was very fun. I can't wait to come back.
Yeah, you have to
Absolutely.
come back. This was super
Absolutely.
fun.
Very fun.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Ethan,
I'm Jamie.
and we are Bloody Essentials. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.